Hey guys, as always, I want to welcome you to the debrief. Now remember, our goal here is to help educate, motivate, train, and inform new and willing to learn security guards. So today we're going to talk about the top 5 ways to successfully navigate a First Amendment audit. I'm not going to hold you guys too much longer. Let's get right into it. Number 5 is going to be knowing if you are working in a private business or on public property. So many security guards are working in one or the other, or sometimes you're splitting your shifts between both. If you're working in a private establishment, there are going to be a certain set of rules and policies that you can enforce while you're on that property. However, if you're working in a public property, specifically a government building, a county building, municipal buildings, things like that, there's going to be an understanding that the everyday average citizen, under the Bill of Rights of the Constitution, has access to those areas if they are open to the public. This is something that you should definitely research for yourself. Understand what type of property that you're working on, and here's where it gets a little spicy. You might be working in a government or a city or a county location that has signs posted everywhere that videoing or assembly is not authorized. And if you as a security guard step in front of someone's constitutionally protected rights, you might find yourself in a lot of hot water. What I would suggest is first finding out what type of property you're working on so that you can then move on to number 4. So now that we've figured out what type of property you're working on, number 4 is going to be to talk to your company. Guys, the very first thing you should do in dealing with this situation is, well before it happens, have a conversation with your company. How do you guys want us as officers to proceed if we're in a situation where someone is performing a First Amendment audit? I'm going to give you guys a little tip. Most of the people who are working in a supervisory position or a management position at the majority of security companies, especially these larger scale box type security companies, they don't even know what the fuck a First Amendment audit is. You might have to explain it to them, but it's very, very important that you ask your company how they want you guys to proceed. And if possible, I would get that in writing. So you've looked into the type of property that you're working on, and now you know. You've talked to your company and they have given you their idea of what they're expecting from you. Number 3 is going to be, what do you do when you're actually in the situation where the First Amendment auditor is now in your face? And I'm going to tell you, it's to be professional. Above all else, no matter what happens, even when that camera is in your face, remain steadfast in your professionalism. The last thing that you want to do is end up on social media being an asshole. Number 2 is simply to defer and deflect. What do I mean by that? Defer is to always answer every question and every issue by saying, let me talk to my manager, or let me get the supervisor for that. So when that person is in your face with that camera, take a deep breath. Instead of getting all flustered and upset and saying the wrong thing, the best thing that you can do is say, just give me a second, let me grab a manager. Just give me a second, let me grab a supervisor. Defer everything, all of that energy that is coming towards you, to the people that are in charge of the property. If someone is going to say something that is violating someone's rights, let it be them and not you. Now that you have the proper property managers in place to deal with the First Amendment audit, this is the time for you to do number 1, and that is to redirect all of your energy back into the scope of your post orders. If you are working in a responsive role only, and you are there to protect the property manager, the associates, the customers, at this point, now that the person who is in charge, the supervisor of that property, is dealing face to face with the First Amendment auditor, you can focus on the reason why you're there, which is protection. At this point, any and all conversation from your direction should cease, and you should be working in only the protective role that you've been contracted for. This way, you're only working within the scope of your post orders and what you have been brought in to do. Guys, as always, I welcome any dialogue, any critique, and any comments. Please post it below. And as always, share our channel. Guys, as you go out there, I want you to make sure that you're being safe. Always watch your back, watch your 6, and be great. Be great.